recorded. Are we transmitting today, Jeff?
We believe we are.
We're out into the universe on YouTube. So thank you all for being here with us this afternoon. We have a fairly full agenda, and we'll go ahead and get things started with Jameson Hahn.
All right. This thing's rolling up here. Hey, everybody. Jameson Hahn, Jefferson County PUD, and just gonna go over some, key items that have been happening on the utility front. So, it is budget season. That's October, is our big main event, and that is a special meeting that we host October 6th, and this is a hybrid thing, so you are absolutely welcome to attend in person at our headquarters. But it's a pretty quick meeting because we've been covering budget items for the last couple of meetings. However, this is the chance to really look and ask really good questions now that we'll have a fully fleshed out budget based on what our commissioners have asked for. Again, we don't have to actually have it approved by the board until November 31st, I believe. So this is, again, a good chance for you to ask questions and dig deeper. Right now, we're on track to have the largest budget to date. So that said, a lot of what we have coming in, and you'll see in the slides that are coming up, is grant related, because we have been insanely good at grant writing, or at least my director has been. That's a lot in the broadband realm. That's also a lot in the water system realm. So we have $3 million going toward funding of the COIL water system, which we're really proud to get. Water specific grants are really hard to get a hold of. It's not something, even though we all need it, and it's an essential resource, it's amazing how few there are. So we're very happy to have a new system basically reworked for COIL. The next one on our docket is fiber. So I mentioned the grant build out. We are just about finished with basically what's surrounding the Ludlow area, because everyone here by the state broadband office is considered served for the most part in the Ludlow area. Beyond it though, we have just accepted or received BEAD funding. So it's a very large grant. That is the third time around that they accepted it, and we've been accepted for it. That's going to put fiber down the Oak Bay corridor and also coming up into the Shine area and kind of South Point Road. That again is, I want to bring fiber here so badly because we hear from folks in Ludlow all the time about my connectivity is not good, and you can challenge your connectivity through the FCC website, FCC/broadband, and you can see who declares your property as served within the upload and download speeds. And you can say no. You can even do a speed test there, and you could challenge it. If you haven't had a chance, it's really interesting to see who you think or who thinks they serve your area. And in a lot of cases, it's not true. And so we ask that you could check that. And if you also could do us a huge favor and want to register for free, there's no underlying parts to it here. You can register for broadband through PUD just to raise your hand and say, my house would be interested in the future if you build to this area. There's no strings attached to that. It literally is just saying that I'd be interested. That's on our Jeff PUD/broadband page, and that's right on the main page as well. So we appreciate that. That helps us give our commissioners in the future and our new general manager a lot of data points to work with. The next part here, and actually the last note that I really have, a big one that's come up is opt-out discussion. So we completed an AMI, so an advanced metering infrastructure, countywide. That was a multi-year effort and cost in the neighborhood of $4 million to complete. And that is where the meters that we have throughout the county, the vast majority of them, talk to a database, our system, securely, and allows us to basically have a pulse on the health of our system in almost real time. That is a really big deal when it comes to isolating outages, especially down here, where you have underground faults that occur, a lot of underground lines, that's getting close to end of life for that 30-year range. So it really helps us to get down to the home level when a meter is not responding, rather than looking more at a neighborhood or street level. AMI had, again, we finished our program, but during the process, the commission thought it would be best to offer opt-out service for people. So that's a non-transmitting meter. And they set the price for that at a monthly $5 rate. We knew the whole time that that was not going to cover truck roll, which is the cost of a meter staff going out to do a monthly read. Now, that means the rest of the utility, customer owners, have to make up that difference, have to actually account for it. And there's only 486 around the county. But when you factor in 21,000, just under 21,000 meters, that's that cost of doing that drive time and that read every month is kind of dispersed amongst everyone. So the fairness idea here is that we want to look at that rate, and we did a cost of service study through a group called FCS, and they came up with $28.30 per month as the fee that it would take to cover the truck roll, the billing adjustment, because that's also something our staff has time into, and also weighted against what other utilities are doing in terms of cost for opt-outs. It ranges everywhere from where I used to work at Grant QD, $65 a month, to us at the bottom end at $5. Most are in that $15 to $25 range. So our new GM, Joe Wilson, had put out to the board at our last meeting at a $15 rate because the board really didn't like the $28 number, despite kind of the data to back it. So it's still in discussion, but I want to put that out there that it is something that we are looking at because we want it to be fair. We want people to have the option, but we also don't want it to weigh heavily on the rest of our customer base. So that is in the works. But other than that, that's kind of the top topics right now. And again, I just want to throw out there, October 6th, please check out our event calendar. There is a Zoom link on there. That's our budget hearing. We'd love to have you there. You can submit comments on there as well. Email is great. We can field those at the event. Any questions? Oh, we got, yeah.
Is there the budget on the website that will be?
So right now, on jetpud.org, there's a records tab on the right sidebar, and there is a draft budget right now. If you go down to the financials, you will see it right on that page. Yep, it is a lengthy document. We cover everything, so we have a very large working budget, but the idea is we want to show you all what you might get.
Yeah, what was the timeline? You said the timeline for bringing fiber optics down to the
That kind of depends. So our latest BEAD funding takes us out into the end of that project will be the end of 2027. So that's the Southeast Jefferson. It's the blue one on our map that you can see. Yeah, so it's out there a little ways, but the reality is we're tidying up the Olympic fiber corridor. On the mapping, there will be purple and the pink sections, the largest build-outs is what we started with, of course. But we are almost stretched with that. We're looking to tie it up at the end of this year. We're moving then into Maristone and what's called Jefferson North, so up in the Port Townsend, outside of Port Townsend, and all that, the county area there, and one small section by Discovery Bay. So, yeah.
Hey, Jim, you always talk about outages. Any outages?
You know, what we've seen, nothing down here that I mean, nothing major. So we've had a very mellow season, but I do want to put this out there. I was just out the other day with John Daner, our chief, or line chief, and he got 2 calls on underground faults in Port Townsend. So those are lengthy. You guys have some beautiful area here, no lines above ground, by and large, by master plan, and that's cool. However, just know that if there is an outage, we always do our due diligence. We look for the squirrels that sometimes hit feeders and stuff. But then we're also digging literally, for those undergrounds. And those can take 6 to 8 hours to recover. So we have to bring in that dirt work crew. Naturally, it always happens at the end of the day or on busy weekends. It's just Murphy's Law. But we do have to bring in dirt work crews for that. So that is a back truck or a backhoe. And then we have to do what's called a TDR, which is to actually fault test the line. It's a very interesting process. I wrote about it on our e-news. So you can actually figure out where the fault's at in your neighborhood, mark it, dig it, fix it. That's usually about this long. But it is this time of year though. We're going from very dry weather to wet weather, and we're drying up. Back to
Foggy.
weather. We're in the process of that seasonal shift, and you can see more underground faults. So just want to give you a heads up on that.
So Jameson, are you saying you are finding faults underground that haven't turned into outages yet? Or you're finding them because
When
they've
it
turned into outages?
When it happens quick. So to get an underground fault in your neighborhood to knock out 100 people or 20 people or even just your house, it takes literally not even a pinprick of a crack in the line. And the lines here are, by and large, unless it's a newer construction, are direct buried. So you're talking a end of life, working life 30 years for a direct buried line. Most of the Ludlow area is at that end of life. That said, you have pretty good, stable area. And so just know that that's kind of what we have to think about in the future too. That's why all of our new construction is inside conduit. So we can just pull the line out, run the line. Any other questions?
Just one, Jameson, circle back again, if you would, on the fiber optic capabilities. So just lay that out in terms of what's actually planned so far for Port Ludlow, and then the follow-up question would be, theoretically, if you had a petition signed by 1,790 residences, would that have an impact on the speed with which fiber optic comes into Port Ludlow?
Boy, if Dan Tupper was here, you could just corner him right now. He is your commissioner, by the way. If you haven't had a chance to meet Dan, he's down actually doing good work down at PLC, which is down in Portland right now, for utilities. So, but yes, large numbers of red dots on our map do help. We have secured $60 million in fiber build out. What you see around the county is $60 million coming into this, our area. That's in grant funding. We do have some small loans too that because of the cost of doing everything has gone up, we've had to take out some very small interest loans. However, we weigh that against the greater good, or what we're trying to accomplish. In terms of the network size, we're running a 10 gig network. We are building it robust enough to handle every single person in this county. That's the goal. We want to offer that at some point, but we do need to make that case to our commission. And it also is bandwidth. We have a really great team, but we also need to kind of keep it in check where we're getting the grants done, and then we're able to figure out the next build. And it does help to raise your hand and say, I'm interested.
That's great, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Any other questions? Great. I'd like to introduce Heather Dudley Nolet, who is our Jefferson County Commissioner for District 1. And she is here representing the county. Greg Brotherton was out of the area today. Heather is here in his place, so welcome, Heather, and thank you for coming in for us.
Thanks so much for having me, and thank you for giving the example, Jameson, that I was supposed to come up here and speak from here, which makes sense with the speaker. Yes, Commissioner Brotherton was unable to attend today, and I had actually been asking him if there was a time when I could step in for him and just kind of come and meet you all. So this was a great opportunity, so I appreciate you having me. And he did say that he often comes and does just kind of an update on what's happening in the county. And so I thought I'd focus that a little bit on a few overall things that are happening, but also to just let you know a little bit about what I'm working on specifically. each of your commissioners does focus on in different areas, and of course, I'm sure you're familiar with the quorum issues that we have in a 3-member commission. We cannot typically be in the same, working on the same things together unless we have noticed a public meeting. So we often are in different places and working on different issues, and we do try to then share that information with each other, particularly on Mondays when we do our calendaring, so that we'll at least know where each commissioner is putting the majority of their energy. So I just wanted to give you a little introduction to the things that I've really, of course, we each sit on a lot of committees. I have 29 different committees, in addition, including the Board of County Commissioners. So I am working in a lot of different areas for you in the county. But I just wanted to touch on a few issues that I have really tried to kind of focus my attention in this first year. And of course, I've just been here since January. So these are the areas that I'm really putting my attention, both because they're areas of expertise that I maybe already brought into the role, and or they are areas of focus that I've taken on with the committee. So one issue that is actually not a particular area of focus of mine, but I wanted to give you an update on because a member of your community, Captain Pete Joseph, has brought some derelict vessel issues to the Board of County Commissioners, and I know that's been an issue of particular interest and concern for folks in Port Ludlow. So I just wanted to give you a quick update that Captain Joseph has been kind of re-engaging on some of the derelict vessel issues, bringing a white paper forward that he wrote, and of course, if you're not familiar with Captain Joseph, he brings along a history and expertise as a Coast Guard captain, retired. So we are looking into that. I brought that, I do not sit on the Marine Resources Committee, but again, got an opportunity to sit in at the MRC for Commissioner Eisenhower, who was your District 2 Commissioner, and has been fairly focused on derelict vessel issues. Heidi Eisenhower is very studied and has been digging into derelict vessel issues, but again, I got to attend a meeting in her stead and brought this forward to them. So the next thing that is happening on this sort of exploration of what are our options for managing derelict vessels, which is, as I've learned, a very complex issue. And so the Department of Natural Resources is deeply involved. One of the next things that's going to be happening, if you're interested in derelict vessel issues, Jerry Farmer, who is a well-known derelict vessel expert all across the state, is actually going to be doing a presentation on derelict vessel removal at our Wooden Boat Festival. So tomorrow, from 1 to 2 p.m., Jerry Farmer will be there at the Wooden Boat Festival. I plan to attend and listen to that, and then we'll also be following up on and just digging in and understanding some of the recommendations that Captain Joseph has made, and talking with our Marine Resources Committee and talking with the Department of Natural Resources, and just understanding what our options are there. So just so you know, that issue is kind of coming back to the table and is being looked at again. Other significant issues that I'm really working on, affordable housing is a major area of focus for me. Of course, I came from the housing world. Prior to taking office, I was the Deputy Executive Director for Bayside Housing Services, so with a particular focus on providing shelter and transitional housing for people coming out of the homeless condition. But as a commissioner, I've really broadened that focus to look at the issues and barriers that we are facing around the ability to provide both affordable housing itself and all of the infrastructure that's going to be required in order for affordable housing to be a possibility in Jefferson County. One of the things that I've really chosen to sort of do a deeper dive into is I'm starting to do some one-on-one interviews with our housing developers. So I'm starting with our affordable housing developers, so organizations, of course, like Habitat for Humanity and the Olympic Housing Trust. And just, they've been really open and willing to sit down with me and go through your project budgets and really start to talk about what are the specific areas in your budgets that are rising your costs. What kinds of influences are you seeing on your ability to provide affordable housing? also gonna be doing some interviews with market rate developers and really having that same conversation, but then trying to compare those two things and see what issues are influencing our developers in general. And then also kind of adding a layer, talking with them about what would be incentive for you as a market rate developer to potentially add more affordable housing in your developments. So that's just an area that I've really been digging into. I'm hoping to continue those interviews in October or September and October, and then do kind of a sort of mid-process report out in November and start talking with our commissioners about what trends we're starting to see. Of course, we are in the middle of our comprehensive plan periodic update, which will be completed by the end of this year. So there are still processes left. There's still, maybe contrary to some information that may be out there, I want you all to know that there are still several opportunities for the public to engage in that process. Right now, the final versions of the various different sections of our comprehensive plan will be going to our planning commission. So I'd really encourage you to keep an eye on the planning commission's schedule, our Jefferson County Planning Commission. You will start to see several meetings coming up where there are opportunities to continue to give input into the comprehensive plan. So if there are issues that you are focused on that you want to make sure get heard, there's still many opportunities to do that, primarily through the planning commission's processes. So keep an eye on that. Like the PUD, of course, the county is working on our budget, and so this is budget season. Right now, we are in the process of doing the one-on-one appointments and with our department heads and separately electeds. So Judy Shepard is our finance manager. She is working one-on-one with our department leads to get their initial versions of their budgets, kind of work through any details, and then you're going to start to see drafts of budgets coming out and versions of the budget coming to our weekly Board of County Commissioners meetings over the next several weeks. So I'm excited about that. Other areas of particular focus for me, I've been working with our local schools on childcare support and trying to understand our childcare desert issues, working with our school superintendents, but also on a YMCA project. There is a almost fully funded, but not fully funded childcare project that is supposed to break ground in Port Townsend. Of course, and that's through the YMCA, multiple funding streams, but then when the bids came back, we had to turn them down because we ended up with over a $2 million gap because the expense was so much higher than predicted. So we're back to the drawing board, trying to find additional funding and also working with the designers to see if there's some value engineering that can be done there to reduce costs. So that, along with, I'm on our Peninsula Early Childhood Coalition and really trying to understand what are the options for addressing childcare, and it's a pretty significant issue. When we talk about affordable housing, we can't ignore things like living wage jobs and childcare. If we don't have living wage jobs and childcare for people to go to work, to make the money, to be able to pay for homes, that will be a never-ending cycle. So those are issues that I'm trying to really kind of lay some groundwork for some research and solutions this year. Another big area for me is emergency management and food resilience. So I've been working with our emergency management department, our climate action committee, which has a food resilience work group. And we're really trying to find some support for some food resilience planning that would really look at our food systems county-wide, everything from how are we growing food, producing food, storing food, do we have enough capacity, and are there ways that we can increase our production? And at the other end of that spectrum, which is if we have a regional emergency, how are we mobilizing our food and getting it out to our community. And there are a lot of resources that, and tools that we're already identifying, that if we could put some more energy and resources into things like making sure we have enough generators to keep food from spoiling, and many, many tools like that. So there's some planning that's going into that process that I'm really excited to roll out in the next year or so. Other major areas of focus for me, the Behavioral Health Network is a very big one, and we're just even in the last few days, we're really addressing and seeing some significant issues that are going to need to be dealt with our unsanctioned encampment that's in Port Townsend, and really looking at the realities of that and what kind of support is needed there. I am really trying to mobilize our behavioral health providers to really be the experts and to provide the guidance that we need in order to support that community, because there are some severe mental health and behavioral health issues that really need to be addressed, and if we can mobilize that energy to really protect that population and do whatever we can to engage them and to reconnect them and support them to help move either into the kind of mental health support that they need, and or for some people, they will be able to, with support, re-engage in community and be productive and supportive members of our community. So I'm really asking our behavioral health network to dig into this problem with us very actively right now. We're in the process of setting up some meetings where we can pull all of our behavioral health providers together and really start talking specifics about how to provide that kind of support. A couple other things on our Olympic Area Agency on Aging, which is O3A. And so we're looking at senior meals support. Actually, this is one place where we actually do have quite a few dollars that are available for senior meals support in our community, but we don't have a lot of providers in the community that have the capacity to provide the actual food. So I'm really trying to connect those two things and see how we can put some more of those dollars to work in Jefferson County. We've got a little bit better infrastructure around that in some of our surrounding counties, but I'm not seeing it really hit the ground in the way I would like to see it hit the ground in Jefferson. So trying to dig into some of those issues. There was some meetings about that today. Really looking for some support for our Fire Cares program as well. So if you are unfamiliar with Fire Cares, I would encourage you to look into our Fire Cares program, which is the East Jefferson Fire and Rescue. This is not Jefferson County. Of course, East Jefferson Fire and Rescue is a separate taxing district, but a huge partner of the counties, and they provide great support. Last couple of things, another big initiative that I am working on personally is trying to establish a youth commission in Jefferson County, working with our youth support organizations like OWL 360 to try to engage youth, particularly engaging youth in local government, and trying to have them come in and provide guidance around what they need in our community in order to thrive. So that's a big conversation that's happening all across the county. And lastly, just a couple things that are coming up that I hope you have on your radar. Of course, Jefferson County does this annual, actually it's biannual, every other year. They are coming out into the community, primarily our department heads and our separately electeds. We did do our first meeting here in Port Ludlow. Thanks to folks who attended in Port Ludlow, we've been able to re-engage and try to get a few more folks to these meetings, and doing marginally better with that, but we appreciated your input on it. The next one will be at Wilson Community Center on Tuesday, this September 9th, from 6 to 8 p.m. And there are 3 left. We'll do one in Wilson, one in Brennan, and one out in the Ho in October. And then lastly, this is not a county thing, but I hope it's on your radar. On September 11th, the Wall That Heals, our Traveling Vietnam Wall Memorial, is coming to Jefferson County. It will be at our Jefferson County Airport. And the opening ceremony for that is at 10 a.m. on September 11th. So I hope that you attend. It will, that wall will be here for 3 days straight, 24 hours a day. I hope that you go and experience it and enjoy it. There is a huge need still for volunteers. So if you look up the Wall That Heals or Vietnam Wall Memorial in Jefferson County, our American Legion is sponsoring that. We do still need a whole lot of volunteers to make it happen. So I hope you can participate in that and attend the opening ceremonies at 10 a.m. on the 11th and go enjoy it for the 3 days that it's here. And I'm happy to answer any questions, kind of just a smattering of things that are going on. There's so many things, but I'm happy to answer questions too.
That's great, Linda, thank you so much. Questions, comments from our attendees? Jay?
I'm just curious what our current level of illness communicating around the county is right now.
Current level of illness?
Yeah,
is that what you
like
said?
what's our COVID level?
Oh,
what's our
COVID levels.
measles level, all those things.
So we do have Dr. Berry back on the job, and she was gone for some maternity leave and not providing her monthly health updates while she was gone, but she was back as of Monday, and so she will be coming back and doing those monthly on KPDZ. Those are broadcast once a month. But she, according to Dr. Berry, this Monday, COVID is on the rise right now, and that is happening statewide. It's not specific to Jefferson County. She said it's fairly predictable, kids going back to school, and as we head into the fall season, so we are going to hit flu season. She didn't indicate that it was in any way, unusual in terms of an unexpected rise, that it was pretty much what we were expecting to have happen, but she was highly recommending masking indoors in closed spaces when you're in a large group, and of course staying up to date on vaccinations. She gave a lot of information about access to vaccines, and a lot of that information was that we don't have a lot of information right now. Unfortunately, what's happening at the federal level is really in so much influx that we're, she did say that she was fairly confident that folks 65 and over are going to have access to COVID vaccinations, and potentially not so much access to testing, unfortunately, but you will have access to your vaccinations and boosts, but not people under 65, and so we don't really know when we're going to have access to information about that. Other questions? I'll be here. I actually can stay for the vast majority of the meeting. I'll need to go at about 4:45 or so, but I'm looking forward to hearing what you're all working on. Thanks for having me.
That's great, thank you.
John, can I throw one more thing in? I just got a text from Joe Wilson, our general manager.
Of course.
Okay, so, tree trimming, a big focus for us here. That's something, that was covered in our last meeting. Joe really wants to ramp up our tree trimming efforts, especially down here in Fort Ludlow. So that was what, he just texted me as something he wanted to bring up. So you will be seeing trimming crews out and about Oak Bay Road and other main feeders, throughout the fall. So that will be happening pretty quickly, because we'll make sure we have it covered.
That's great, thanks for the update. Diana is also, Diana from Fort Ludlow Associates is also traveling today. Left me just a couple of items that I'll cover briefly, and then we'll put her report into our minutes as well. As we heard a month ago, they're starting to work on the new expansion in the development, and apparently it has a name now, or maybe it did before, but it's called Falls Terrace. And her note is that they're working with surveyors, wetland experts, engineers, and they hope to have a draft land plan within the next 60 days. So work is beginning on that. We probably won't see much or have any real opportunity to comment on that with the landline that something comes out. A couple of notes on housing, or regarding housing. One of them that actually, that I was guilty of and caught me by surprise. So, her note is that they're working on sending a letter to anyone who did not return their cross-connection survey. So I was under the impression that when we had a backflow contractor come in and check our backflow performance with our irrigation systems that are attached to our water systems, that was what was being referred to in the cross-connection survey, and actually they're completely separate. So I and apparently about 90% of the community has not responded to the cross-connection survey, thinking probably like we did, that once you got the backflow survey, that satisfied the requirement. Actually, there is a requirement from the state of Washington that the homeowner has to respond to this cross-connection survey. It's a 1 minute click box thing to get it done, but the OWSI is required to have those reports completed, and apparently many of us did not understand that. So we'll make that known on our website, and OWSI will be sending out information as well on that. What else? Hospitality events. Wine tasting coming up on September 9th, $10 wine flights. That will be held the second Tuesday of each month throughout the year. These next two I love. Cork and Canvas, which is painting in wine, and then Stitch and Sip, which is knit, crochet, and wine. And I try to put those all together to figure out exactly what the end result it turns out to be, but it looks kind of fun. So at least as an observer, maybe. Happy hour is at Fireside is 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. 7 days a week, and they're finishing up their farm suppers on Sundays this month. 4 p.m. to close, 3-course meal for $39 per person, and the farm suppers, end on September 30th. And then there'll be new things coming up in October. Rotary Car Show by the Marina on September 6th. Jefferson County Farm Tour on September 13th and 14th. We have a concert coming up from Port Ludlow Performing Arts. Presents the Pipeline Vocal Project at the end of the month on the 27th. And just a note that the Northwest School of Wooden Boat Building has a free campus tour the first Friday of every month. Boat building's a big thing here in our area, so if you're at all curious about that, they offer a campus tour to give you an update on what's going on in that part of the process. All right, that will conclude our stakeholder updates. Moving to board business, I'm actually going to move first to the podium. So we can all see each other once again. All right. For board business, I'd like to start with a motion to approve our August 2025 PLBC minutes.
I make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Hannah, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. John, we're going to do our treasurer's report. You're good.
Good afternoon. First of all, we have money, so that's my report. Yeah, so for this,
So formal, you always are.
for this month, we did receive a donation of $750 from one donor, so I appreciate that donor, and that donor knows who he is. So we have a total income for the year of $4,200. That's a little short of the $15,000 operating cash we need each year, but it's helpful. Our expenses were low this month. Our expenses were only $320. We only had some normal expenses. We give $200 to the village, the Voice, for a donation, and we have some website fees. So we didn't have any other expenses, so that's pretty good. So our balance of cash right now, as of now, is $15,500, which is a good number. We expect at the end of this year to have 12,200. I know I reported on Monday 10,000, but doing a deeper dive yesterday with the finance committee, we're going to be a little better than 10,000. We're going to be more like 12,200. 12,200. Thanks to TAM. One of the reasons is that TAM has avoided the 2024 expense of election money for elections, which was a $1,200 expense. So I'm glad you could get rid of that, TAM. Thank you. And we've been doing better at meeting costs because we have available to us now, Sound Bank has a meeting room in Port Ludlow we use quite frequently. And the realtor office at Teal Lake, corner of Teal Lake and Oak Bay, has an office, a meeting room we have been using. So we're not going over to places like the Bay Club where they charge us for meetings. So we're saving money. So we're doing good. We're doing good on saving money for the hard-earned money we get for donations. I'd like to jump into the finance. There's two things, just because I see this in the next one on the list.
Hang on just 1 second. So I learned recently that what I'm supposed to say at this point is I direct Tracy to file your treasurer's report in our minutes.
Okay.
So we're not accepting it, we're not approving it, we're filing it.
Okay.
Because we can't trust you, we don't know if things are 100% accurate, so therefore we can't approve this. Anyway,
I wouldn't trust me either.
so thanks. So we have made the note that it's filed in our minutes. And now you may move to finance.
Thank you. There's two things that we want to discuss. One is back in August 6th, if I got the date right, we had a special workshop where we talked about fundraising for next year. Because as I said, at the end of this year, we'll have 12,000 and change, depending on the election costs. But we'll have about 12,200 and change. That will carry us through 3/4 of next year. Probably not the fourth quarter. We'll probably run out of money at the fourth quarter in 2026 unless we do something. And assuming we don't get any other small donations that dribble in over the year without taking some action. So on August 6th, we had a general meeting about fundraising. We came up with this grandiose plan for the fourth quarter of this year. And after further discussion with the finance committee, we said maybe the grandiose plan is a little too much right now because we're changing boards in October. We're going to have 3-4 new members in our board. They need time to get up to speed. So we're suggesting a smaller approach in December or the fourth quarter, maybe a dinner for major donors or maybe a gift for major donors, just to contact the donors we know and that know what we know and they love us. We know that, so we'll contact them. And then we'll do some other things in the course of next year as the new board gets oriented. I know, having just gone through the South Bay, when you have a big change in the board, it's hard to get organized. It takes a while, and they have to own whatever we do. So they need time to get it under their belt and understand it. So what we'd like to do, John, is we'd like to have, as part of the next workshop, on, I believe it's September 16th, if I have the calendar right, we'd like that part of that time with the board to discuss some of the specifics. I know that it would be too long to talk about it here.
Sure. Yeah. By all means, we'll have it on the workshop.
Okay, thank you. So that's that. And then the second thing on our list is that Lois here. Lois does a great job of organizing activities. She did the, what was the thing you did before? Yeah,
July 5th raffle.
right, the raffle and all that. Yeah. She's planning a paw parade in October for dogs. And we all love dogs. I know. Canines, excuse me. Not cats, canines. And she's been discussing, she might need a few things to make it go well, because October is a rainy season. So she's made a request for it. I know the email's been flying around this afternoon, but right now I think it's 1 one canopy for covering against the rain for the judges and for the registration, and a table, because we were short tables. And I don't know if is that what you should be thinking?
Is this on? I am Lois Grazioli, I'm chairperson of the Social Wellness Committee. I'll be explaining the activity. It's renamed the Canine Costume Contest, our first annual. But we've been borrowing things from, we bring our own materials like chairs and tables, we haul our stuff in for these events. We will be having these quarterly social fun and fundraising events. So we need some materials. We have one canopy and, we have bake sales. So last time we were sweltering in the sun. When I reach out to sponsors or participants, my first question is always, what happens if it rains? And they just go, oh, raincoats, I guess. I'm from California, so it's a little different. But, so we do have one canopy, and I'm a conservative when it comes to spending, so I think if we ask for one other canopy, that means two, and we can maybe borrow one. The clubs are reluctant to loan equipment because, and I get it, because everybody would be asking, and then what shape is the equipment, and some people are very responsible, others maybe not. So we do need some things on hand for these types of events. And eventually a sound system, because what happens is we have to plug into, if we have music, we have to borrow their microphone. And it's a little awkward, and it makes it not as smooth of an event. They've been wonderful, but we do eventually need that. So for the time, I'd like a motion that we purchase, and they're not expensive. I mean, John, how much are the canopies?
I have a price here of round number $250 for that table and the canopies.
Howard, did you want to say something? Canopy, one canopy and one table. Howard wants three, but.
I'm just trying to be clear. East Coast accent.
And so that's like $250, which is not a big expense, I think, considering we don't spend, our events have not cost us anything really. It's all volunteers and the board helping out.
So you're sticking one and one, right? That's what
Pardon me?
you want one and one.
One and
table,
one.
One canopy and one.
One canopy and a table.
So
and
that's,
we can always-
So we have a motion on the floor for the board to approve the purchase of a table and canopy for approximately $250. Is there any discussion from the board? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Now we can discuss. Thank you, Dan. Keep in line. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Yes.
Should ask for more.
I'd like to just shift the schedule slightly. Tam needs to leave a bit earlier on this meeting, and so I'd like to move to communications, administration and elections, and we'll pick up the other pieces after Jan completes her portion of the meeting.
Yeah. Thank you. I know that all of you got the policies and procedures manual, the 43 pages of it. How many had a chance to read? I had. How about looking at it? Of you? How about looking at the ones that, the changes that we made that were discussed at the workshop?
Yes.
Okay, great.
One's in yellow.
Yes, the ones in yellow. Okay, great. Were there any other locations that you had questions about? Any other locations within different sections of the policies and procedures? Everybody is totally happy with it? Yes.
You obviously invested a lot of time and energy to get to that point, so we know you've been working on it for a while.
Yes, we have. This is a extremely evolving manual. There are already some things in the parking lot, as you know, or maybe you don't know. We are going to do some things about what we do if we get a complaint from either a board member about another board member or a committee chair or committee member. We need to be able to have some things in line and have policies in line. Those are in the parking lot right now because we'd like to get this. It's the first time we've ever asked for the whole policies and procedures manual to be approved. We've always done it piecemeal, and this time it really needed work all over, so we did that. So if there is no discussion about it,
I move to approve it.
I second.
okay. Any other comments? Approve? Vote aye?
Aye.
Great. Thank you, that was easy. We'll keep working on it.
And I would just point out that that is if I understand correctly, Deanna, it's going to be a little bit more of a living document now.
Yes.
That will be an actively reviewed and actively updated with some regularity.
It was my committee, it wasn't just me, Barry Luke and Dave McDermott were on the committee. We worked really hard, sometimes meeting twice or 3 times a month.
That's great. Thanks to all of you, and appreciate all the time invested in this.
And thanks to South Bank for giving us their conference room
Yeah.
every other week.
Absolutely. Do you want to discuss elections?
Yes. Right now, as we speak, our election postcard is being printed by Blue Sky Printers in Poulsbo. We did a quote from both the printery in Port Townsend and Blue Sky, and Blue Sky came in significantly less. So we
QR code scanner.
are going with them. As I understand it, the local village players use them on a regular basis and have for years and have had really good results. So that was a good recommendation that we received. The postcards themselves are going to cost about $385 to be printed. It will cost us about $700 to be mailed. And they're going to mail them bulk, using their bulk mailing permit. And they will be out by September the 9th, with our polls opening on September the 12th, which will run through October the 12th. So we have time to do some gathering of our surveys and gathering of our data, and have some things to report to the board at the annual meeting. So the total is going to be about $1,000, which is about $4,000 less than we've had to pay in the past. So it's pretty good. I feel pretty good about it, and I think that everybody will feel pretty good about the postcard. I hope we feel as good about the responses of the voters. Talk it up. Talk it up. Let's get people to vote. Thanks.
Thank you, Tam. I think, if I recall correctly, last year we had a turnout for the election of about 10% of our residents. And so we're hoping to hopefully see an increase in that this year. The things that we're talking about in terms of elections and policies and procedures, et cetera, the elections are really driven by the guidance of our articles of incorporation. The articles of incorporation, our bylaws, and our policies and procedures are posted online on our current website under documents. And so you can find all that information, background if you're interested in it. But it all leads to getting the job done, getting the elections completed, and getting a new board established for the next year. So thanks again, Tam, for your administration, your elections team, for all you've done to get us to this point.
Thank you.
And we will look forward to a good result here in October. All right, Lois. How would you like to address the, so what I'm thinking about for your canine costume contest, other than having approved it for you to continue working on it, there really isn't a board motion required, I don't think, is there? for
This is just a summary.
In this summary document. And then, is this your article that's going to go?
No, it's on the back, the voice article.
The voice article, right?
Would you like me to just do a brief overview?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be fine. Because it's the two of you that have to leave by 4:15,
Yes.
right? Okay, so you're good.
Tam and I sing in the choral bells, and so it's our first rehearsal across the hall. So we want to be on time because we have new members joining us. So this is the first annual PLVC Canine Costume Contest. It's our one of our quarterly events. It's taking place on Saturday, October 25th, from 11 to 2, and the dog parade starts at noon. The goal of this and purposes under the unified cornerstone of the Village Council is to build community support and to improve the social wellness of many of us who are aging in place and hoping to stay aging in place. So briefly, the dog owners will dress their pets in comfortable costumes and themselves, if so desired, and follow a parade route around the Fort Ludlow Marina, led by a grand marshal. They will be judged according to the following categories: spookiest, funniest, most creative, double trouble for 2 dogs, and best duo trio, owners and pets, if the owners would like to dress. 1 prize will be awarded for each category. In addition, we have an online pet photo contest for all those unusual pets that can't be leashed and walked and paraded around the marina. Like lizards and dragons and all those things, bearded dragons. Participants will submit photos to our website. There'll be 1 People's Choice Award for the best photo, and we will share that at the event. We have a bake sale. We would like baked goods to be donated, homemade baked goods. Sometimes people sneak in Costco cookies, but I complained about that. But it is nice to have homemade goodies for the bake sale. Those proceeds will go to our wonderful local string-along band who play free everywhere they go. And they're unaware that we're donating the proceeds to their performance for us. So far, PetSmart's kind of in the wind, right, Howard? They're still...
Yes, ma'am, but I don't want to commit until
Yes.
top. I get a commitment from them, but that's the plan.
So clearly, we're in the planning phase, and we will be pounding the pavement, as I say, and Howard and I are probably the primary ones that do that. We're not shy about asking donors for gifts and participation. Markside Groomer, our wonderful local groomer, has come through. She's going to be one of our judges. She's providing, once again, like she did for our raffle, gift cards for grooming. I'm still working on food venues so if any of you in the audience or on board could suggest, I've contacted Curbside Grill. I haven't had a lot of success, but I'm not giving up. PLA is providing the venue in the marina. The Humane Society is committed to participate. I'm still going to talk to the rescue, what is the name? Center Valley Animal Rescue. JC Fire, East Jefferson County Fire and Rescue, the string-alongs, and my mobile vet, Shine Mobile Vet, is out of the country, but she said it sounds like fun, and so I'm trying to recruit her as a judge. And then Kate Mall, whom I replaced on the Social Wellness Committee, will be also one of the judges. We need volunteers for setup, tear down, bake sale, registration. Our wonderful Barry, with his background in the rodeo and all the other stuff he does, is going to be our MC. He's good at handing things up. I'm the coordinator. Howard's a faithful participant, sign in registration on site. Jeff and Tracy, our tent gurus, will be helping with advertising, online registration, and the photo contest. John C. goes where he's needed. We still need 1 more judge, and I'm still trying to convince the Humane Society lady to be the Grand Marshal. goes, what's involved? I go, oh, you have like a short walk around. It's not, it's just a little circle of the marina. We might make them go twice because they want to be able to see the doggies. It's going to be a lot of fun. We don't expect to spend very much money at all. I need a stash for the marshal, advertising, we have gift bags for the judges, things of that nature. I didn't have enough copies for the entire audience because this is kind of a working document. This is the draft of the Voice article, but you know their deadline's always a month in advance, so it's kind of a challenge. It's been edited by our in-house editor who has a background editing for some publishing company. Random House. La-di-da, right? Anyway. The ways that you can help either as supporters of us or on the board is show up for the event. It's only 3 hours and the parade is only 1. Participate if you have a pet. Mine's a little anxious, so he can't participate, poor guy. But he will be in the photo contest. Volunteer for a slot. They don't take a lot of time. Home baked goods, we're going to be looking for those. We could use help soliciting pet-related donations. Vets, vet clinics, if you have a groomer that you think is amenable to donating something, or a vet that might do a free exam, that would be wonderful. I'm going to hit up the pet food store in Port Townsend because I spend a fortune there with my friend on their food, so they owe me not to. And then lastly, spread the word. Everybody I meet on the trail, everybody Howard meets, we talk, oh, come to the dog parade, come, so anything you can do to spread the word, I would appreciate. And that's my summary.
Something that might help is to do a fora, talk to the speaker, do a fora, just general information about the canine contest, costume contest, and have them so we can hand them out to people. You can hand them out when we see people.
Yes.
So there'd be each 8.5 by 11 would have 4 on it. That's what fora means. And it doesn't have to be as detailed as you just gave for us, but you might think about that.
Great suggestion. So we are going to be starting working on flyers and then, of course, all the e-blasts and all of that. Any questions or discussion?
I'd accept a motion to approve Lois's Voice article to be published in the October 1st edition of the Port Ludlow Voice.
So moved.
Second?
I'll say.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thanks. Forward on your article, Lois. Any other comments on that item? We good?
Who have doggies? Anybody in the audience have doggies that have been participating?
All right. Let's, Jay Bax is here. Jay serves on our Village Council Emergency Committee, and he'd like to share some things with us regarding the Great Washington Shooting.
Here, up there.
You can have this one,
Yeah, just grab one of the mics so you can be heard. Great, thank you.
just so we can record.
Yeah. Anyway, my name is Jay Bax. I am the coordinator for the Great Washington Shakeout for our Port Ludlow Emergency Committee. And pretty much just letting everybody know, reminding you that the third Thursday in October is our Great Washington Shakeout, which is October 16th this year. And it's a great opportunity for us to practice our own emergency preparedness. I will mention that I think it was only like a month ago that Quilcene, some areas of Quilcene were within an hour of being evacuated. So this is not a completely theoretical exercise. So what we do is we use that day to bring together the 3 levels of coordination as far as our preparedness. There's the community level, all you guys. There's our communication within Port Ludlow, and then there's our communication from Port Ludlow to the outside world. So everybody hopefully is aware of the drop, cover, and roll, and think, plan, do, and the other emergency preparedness activities that you all can do to be ready if something were to happen. The next level is coordinated through our block captains. Does everybody know who their block captain is? Okay.
No.
No. If you don't, get in touch with the committee. I think we have a link on the PLBC webpage. And ask us, we'll let you know. The other is, if you're interested in participating, you can become a block captain. Same way, let us know. We're always looking for block captains. And then the third level is our block captains will communicate to a central communications point, and then we are working with the Department of Emergency Management in order to be able to communicate our status with them. So as far as the shakeout, I would encourage everybody to be willing to participate. Two parts to it. One, when the announcement comes, which will be 10/16 or something on that Thursday, do your check. Make sure you have your plans in place. But also, you'll be asked to put on the front of your house, someplace where it's visible from the street, a sign that says you're either okay, or in the case of a real emergency, it would say help, but for the purposes of our shakeout, we say test, so that the block captain walking the neighborhood can keep track of who's there and who might need additional help. Obviously, it's all simulated. But it really is helpful the more members of the community we have participate. And then there will be an article coming out in The Voice in October. And in past years, the council has been very helpful in e-blasts, and I would hope that we would be able to do all of that again this year. And that's what I have to say. Thank you.
That's great, thank you, Jay. Any questions from the board or from the audience?
Yes.
So we just make our own sign, or is there a sign?
No, we have,
You have signs that say we're okay?
when your block captain gets in touch with you, they will provide you with
Oh.
signs that say okay or help, or in this case, test. Okay?
Isn't there a sign on the back part of our
If
plan do?
you think, plan, do, yes.
Oh.
That already has
Okay.
the one that you would
I
use.
think he has a question.
Yes.
Are we supposed to have a sign that says test?
Right, if you know your block captain, in early October, they will get the test signs that they can then deliver to you. Yes.
I noticed somewhere that some of the block captains were complaining about having their phone numbers listed. Is that true?
We're going through that, and,
How do we get-
just basic history, the village PLBC used to get funded by a phone book. And
That's right.
then everybody got security nervous, so we don't do that anymore. As far as the block captains, what?
We do need it because there's a.
But as far as the block captains, some of them do not want their phone numbers out. That's their choice. We like to have emails. We do a lot of our communication via email, and we're working that through. But it's important that you know who your block captain is in your neighborhood, and then how you communicate with that person, I guess, can be between you and that person.
Susie, in response to that question, there are actually a couple of things. One, the village council itself, one of the things that Tam mentioned is things that are in our pending box to be addressed soon. And one of those is around a formal policy around release of personally identifiable information, PII. And we've never had a policy in place on that here in the village council, and we need to address that. So that's one aspect of that. And then the second part of this, specifically with block captains, we'll have to have a kind of a subtext of that determines what information for block captains will be made publicly available and what will not. So it's a bit of a work in progress from the structural part, but to Jay's point, the bottom line is, his point is you need to be connected to your block captains. My point is that we are in severe need of block captains, particularly in North Bay. There has been a need for a while, and so we'll be trying to elevate the awareness around getting more block captains into the program, both in South Bay and North Bay and in the independent areas as well. And then you'll see more information to come on kind of exactly how we manage the personal protected information and stuff. So, hope that helps. That's what we're working on. Thank you, Jay, for the update, and we will absolutely be supporting you through e-blasts, et cetera, whatever we need to do to continue to maintain, raise, increase awareness around emergency issues here and emergency management issues specifically here in Port Ludlow. Thank you.
You folks need to go.
Thanks, Tam and Lois. And you are excused. You will make beautiful music.
Anyone want to join the chorus, you're welcome, by the way. We're always recruiting.
You may not join today, however. Just a brief update on that from the Utilities Committee is we are working to get a town hall scheduled for Olympic Water and Sewer to discuss kind of future things that are going on with them in terms of improving their sewage treatment capabilities. There's a rate increase pending, I believe, and so we want to get that information out to the community, just as happened last year. And I had a very brief email interchange with Jason earlier today. We don't have the final date, but I'm expecting it'll be in probably the October-November timeframe. We'll have an housing town hall. With regard to trails, Howard.
Thank you.
Yes, you do.
I mumble?
Yes, you do.
Okay, my wife would probably agree with me, so I'll leave it at that. First of all, I wanted to welcome really Pete Porter, who's with us today. Pete is the treasurer for our Trails Committee, and everybody welcome Pete. He also builds the trails too. These guys and women do such a wonderful job. In any event, Pete is going to be joining our finance committee of the TLPC. And he met, I think he met this morning, did you, John? Okay. So, in any event, they met this morning. The goal really, I think, at least from my point of view, is to be able to do our records in the same parallel path. And they have, and Trails has their own books and accounts. And the way that they have done things in the past before Pete was different than the way Pete, well, it was done on an Excel sheet, I believe. And the way John has done things, we just want to get them in line. So I don't need to belabor the point. The two of them have met, and now, in addition to our finance committee, I don't know if it has to be approved to have an addition to the committee, but it does make a motion to approve that. If not, I won't. Okay. So, and then the second thing is over 1,072 hours now, steward hours have been performed by our Trails Committee on our now 30 plus miles, I believe, of trails. And then the third thing I want to talk about is a new trails map that that the Trails Committee has been working on for, I don't know, you could tell me, but for some time now, to put out. And Larry Scott is preparing a grant proposal that we turned in at the end of this month. And I believe, I can't say it for sure, but I believe that it's going to the lodging, I forget what it's called exactly, but the lodging tax that's collected about $800,000 a year.
Lodging Tax Advisory Committee.
The lodging tax, the lodging tax advisory committee. And if that's approved, they will have a budget to put out their new maps. So if not, we'll be looking at other sources. I don't want to really get into that yet. I think grant would be the most favorable. And the fourth, I didn't have written down, is really our memorandums of understanding that go out to all of our partners. And this isn't something we work on at a workshop, but I really would like to disperse the minutes from the Trails Committee meetings more widely. And I know they go to South Bay Community Association, they go to LMC. I don't know, though, that they go out to, let's say, OT2 that has trails, or if they go out to any of the other villages that have trails. And I think it would be nice to just really have better communication and more information, so folks know when the work's being done on the trails, and they know the work that is being done. Maybe opportunity for them to volunteer to be a part of it as well. So, but that's a conversation going forward. So that's my report.
Howard?
Yes.
Howard?
Thank you.
Yes, Dan.
I think you should point out that the volunteer hours have a value of about $30 an hour.
That is correct. And if you add $30 an hour towards 1,072, that's over $30,000 plus. That's right. Yeah. No, they do wonderful work, and they just, I tell you, it's a great group of folks that just love building trails, and we all are beneficiaries.
And maintaining.
Well, we're a destination. I don't want to get on the bandwagon too far here, but the bottom line is, folks come to Port Ludlow for our amenities. They come for our trails, they come for the marina, they come for all the good vibes we have here. But trails are important, and I really would like to elevate, actually, the work we do with them. We're taking things a step at a time. Thank you.
Question? Comment?
Sure.
I just want to support your idea of letting the neighborhoods know when somebody's out working on the trail, because whenever it happens, we always get, hey, somebody's walking through the neighborhood, right? And all of that, so.
We have engaged, and you're absolutely correct, and to me, this is kind of a way of.
Yeah, so if you let us know ahead of time, we can let the neighbors know that somebody's coming, and yes, they're legit.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jay.
Hey, Howard,
Yes.
pending funding contact to print paper copies of the maps, do we have a QR code that can be read and downloaded from our website?
Jeff can probably answer that. I believe we already do.
I think they've already got QR codes at the trailheads that allows you to download the PDF, yes.
Okay, so you maintain that on the website?
We have, the PDF of the map is on the website.
Yeah.
The QR code takes you to the website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
I would like to see them explore the possibility of overlaying our trail map on Google Maps so that you can look at it live, and while you're standing in the middle of a trail, you can say, oh, here I am, and this is the trail I'm on, instead of, because the PDF is not to scale, particularly Timberton, right? The first time I walked Timberton, I went, holy crap, we're way out in Beaver Valley. Thinking it was just this little walk. And I think it's relatively doable. I haven't really spent a lot of time looking into how to overlay your data onto a Google map. I'm certain it can be done. And I think that'd be super slick, and I'm not sure we need to keep printing out big foldable PDFs of trail maps anymore, if we can do that cleanly.
Okay, wonderful idea.
I won't
One of the, one of the things that we have discussed briefly would be the idea of providing perhaps more educational materials on the trails themselves, maybe using QR codes as a way to provide natural history education on all those trails, which in turn would maybe open up the opportunity for school visits, possibly things that are educational. And those things are activities that when they're validated, they can help in a grant perspective. If you're offering educational services in terms of just more than just recreational, if it's educational as well, there's a whole realm of grant possibilities out there. And I think that could be done pretty easily in our trails environment already. We just haven't focused on it yet. It may be one of the things I work on after I'm done here, is to see what can be done in that regard as well. But I think there's opportunities out there for trails in that regard also. HOA updates. Joe.
Thank you. I came to this meeting from the LMC Emergency Preparedness Committee meeting, which is facing the same issues that many volunteer organizations are. We are running out of folks to come to the meetings and do the work. So we are taking a look. This committee mainly was responsible for the education, and PLVC was taking care of the management issues during an event. There have been many seminars, but not that many people left to put them on or to come up with new ones. So the committee is planning to meet the first Thursday of October, and we will take a look at defining exactly what this committee realistically can do, and perhaps taking a look at some of the other emergency committees in the area to see if it's time to combine forces. So that's in process, not done at this time. Big news for LMC is Christopher Mike Wilson is our new general manager. He has been ratified by the board. He comes from Vancouver. He attended our EPC meeting today. He's eager and excited to do the work. I think we're very fortunate that he was available. He goes by the name Mike. He starts on September 16th. He's going to attend our workshop on the 11th and our budget meeting on the 12th. Frankly, he's just here all the time already. And we are very happy to welcome Mike as our new general manager.
What was the name again?
Mike Wilson.
Mike Wilson.
Yeah, his legal name is Christopher. He goes by Mike. We haven't, he passed the background check, so I don't know. Legal reasons that
Thank you, Joe.
Forgive me, who's he replacing?
Brad Belmont.
Okay, that's right.
John, you're speaking for SPCA.
So the SBC has started its new fiscal year on July 1st, and that means we're on a new budget, and we have new members to the board. Actually, we have 3 new members. So we're spending a lot of time getting our new members up to speed so they can understand our day-to-day business and what we do and get going. One of the things the SBCA is concerned about is that we want to do some long-range planning for the organization, where we want to be, and how do we serve our members, how do we serve the community, what do we want to do in that regard. And part of it is not only what we do, but it's also what it costs. Because if we look at the current environmental conditions, our inflation pressures are huge in the the SPCA for salaries, for insurance, for utilities, all the things we need. So we're looking at pretty substantial increases in the upcoming years in our assessments. So one of the questions we want to answer is, do we want to accept that, or are there things we can do to not face such steep assessment fees in the future? So that's the long-range planning, is what are we about? What should we be doing for the community to maximize our membership benefit, and what does it cost to operate? So that's what we're doing. That's probably going to take us 6 months to figure out, and then we report that to the members at least. But in spite of that, the party continues. You know, tomorrow morning is the pancake breakfast. We have a monthly pancake breakfast at the SPCA, and the profits from that go to some worthy cause. For example, a few months ago, the profits from the breakfast on, I forget which month it is, went to the Travels Committee. Tomorrow, the profits we make from this event will go to the Backpack for Kids program now school is starting. So every month we pick a charity, and we have a pancake breakfast, we have a lot of food, have a good time. It costs $15 per person. Anybody can come, and the profits we make, we buy our own food, we cook our own food, so the profits we make go to some charity that we designate each month. And our members like to party, so we had last in August, we had a barbecue social, which was well received. And on September 12th, not too far away, we're going to have another members social with music in the backyard. Hopefully the weather will still be good. So, yeah, so things are pretty normal for the SPCA.
Thank you, John. John has been wearing two hats this past year, both as treasurer of SPCA and treasurer here for the Village Council. And sadly has decided that he will not be continuing with us into the next year, but appreciate all his hard work up to this point. And one hat is enough, I guess. Okay, thanks, John. Just call attention to some slight schedule changes for us. So our next workshop is as normal. So on Tuesday, September 16th, there will be a PLBC workshop here at the Beach Club. After that, our next meeting, there won't be an early October board meeting like we normally have. We'll have an October workshop on Friday, October 17th at the Bay Club, and that will be primarily finalizing the work that we need to do as a board to prepare for our annual meeting, which will happen on Tuesday, October 21st, also at the Bay Club. So just a couple of schedule changes for folks to be aware of. And then at the end of that October 21st annual meeting, there will be a new board serving Port Ludlow Village Council. And shortly after that, new officers elected on that board for guidance and leadership in the year ahead. As we wrap up this meeting, and you'll hear this, you'll see this in the writings that I do for The Voice. You'll see it on our website, and you'll hear it verbally. The two critical things now for us as a community have already been touched on, which is just the issue of volunteerism throughout the community in virtually every organization that makes up kind of the fabric of Port Ludlow, if you will. And again, as has been said 1,000 times, we're not unique. It's happening lots of places. We're just at some point uniquely impacted because truly, you know, when you look at the year in Port Ludlow in the NPR and in our village, 95% of it is volunteer-based, right? It's volunteer folks working on emergencies. It's volunteer folks working on the activities. It's volunteers that bring in the music through PLPA. It's volunteers that bring our plays through Port Ludlow Village Players. Literally everything that we do here, other than the resort amenities, is based on volunteerism. And so you'll continue to hear appeals from me on this until I'm no longer in this role, but that's a critical piece. And then I just wanted to touch briefly on John's comments earlier from a financial perspective. The fourth quarter of the calendar year has typically been our fundraising quarter. So last year, we had an exceptional effort, and we received donations of about $20,000 in the fourth quarter, which stabilized our finances for 2025. And as you hear from John, we're certainly in a better place financially now than we were a year ago, but we're still absolutely dependent on our donors to continue the activities in the life of Ludlow Village Council. So you will continue to hear that from me. We'll be doing the fundraising efforts throughout the fourth quarter, and hopefully starting January of 2025 with a very firm financial base to guide the committee moving forward. So appreciate all of the activity from our board members and our volunteers and our committee members. Thank you to all of you who attended this scintillating event today, right in your afternoon. Appreciate you being here, and I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right, Jeff will second. All in favor? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Hey, Jake, can you send me just like a paragraph about the shakeout, and I'll put it on the front page of the webpage? Okay, just.
What's your email? Is it on the website?
Yeah, you can send it to communications@Ludlow Village Council.
I'll send it there.
Sure, I'll put it out there.
I just